dad's dentist when I was younger, but he also loved to act in plays. And like we did a play at like the Jewish Community Center in Nashville, like a really great play, and he played my dad. And he's like, but he's a dentist, but he loves theater, so he was like able to do both. So there's it's not lost to be able to do both of those, but it's definitely would be hard in New York. Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if you read, it was like an article, I think back in June in Newsweek by Ram Instituta, and it was about Sean Hayes and Promises, Promises, and it was talking about how, like basically he was arguing that gay people, A, like can't really successfully portray heterosexuals, and B, like are maybe less successful. And obviously that's like not viable completely, but I was just wondering what you thought maybe.
That's a good question.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, in all careers, people are pigeonholed always. Like when you are a dancer, so say you're a good dancer, then people will always think, well, they can't sing very well, or they can't act very well. Or if you're a musical theater actor, then people will think, oh, they're not good at TV film. And so a lot of the times they'll say, well, he's gay, he can't play straight. And a lot of the time people will think that. But then again, you have a lot of...
Neil Patrick Harris. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is I mean, we're in a different age now, and I mean, with Chris Colfer winning the Golden Globe, like, there's no more, like, I mean, our type, like, it's just in. You know, like, you're moving towards more acceptance and more, you find people, it used to be that, like, if you were a movie actor, you were a movie actor. You didn't also do an album. But, like, it's a little bit a sign of a recession. Like, people who are movie stars are coming to do Broadway, and people are just diversifying their assets because necessity has made it that way, and that's a good thing. The recession is not a good thing, but like people being able to be more open to that, that was like, that article was like a very big deal in the community, like, you know, with all of our peers, and you know, it's not gonna, it doesn't stop me, it has hindered me from certain things. Like, I did not get Jesus, and I know that they wanted someone that's more just like, you know, masculine. Whatever, I can sing that role probably better than a lot of those other straight people, but you know, that's just part of it. And it, but I believe that what makes anyone like different or unique is ultimately what makes you more successful in the long run.
It's true. But I mean, Cheyenne Jackson, he plays so many leading man roles.
Yeah.
That's just one person. Gavin, I mean, so many. It's not like, you know.
It's not the gay, it's not the sexuality, it's the characteristics. I am a light on my toes kind of guy. But there are many gay people who are not and play straight roles.
Yeah, and I think another thing is really knowing your type. Like knowing what your type is. Like, I cannot go in for Girl Next Door. I don't look like Girl Next Door. I'm not, you know, I can't go in for that. And so those are things that you just have to know about yourself. And it's hard. Like, I didn't know exactly what my type was. I was like, well, they do colorblind casting all the time. Like, I can, but when you get into like TV or things like that, or commercials, it's so specific on what you look like. And it doesn't, and once you accept that and accept who you are, then it'll be really easy, because then you know, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go in for this, or I'm going to really shoot for this, I'm going to shoot for that. And you know that 99% of the time it's not about your talent, because everybody is talented. It's about the way you look. And that's, sometimes it's easy when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, of course I get that. But then, you know, when you're in that moment, you're like, how did that girl get it over me? Like, I'm better than her. And it's specifically because she has shorter curly hair or something, you know, whatever it is. But
it's like the EPA thing of like, you know, just going to every single EPA every day, you know, is not going to be helpful. You know, you've got to be realistic about like, what can I actually get? You know, it's not about like, so there are some people who do go like wake up at 3 a.m. every day to go to EPAs, like, you know, white guys going in for dream girls, EPAs. Why? You know,
Why?
why? I mean, there may be that one scene where the Cadillac cars or whatever, but the new trend is that they do a video of that because they're not gonna like hire 4 actors just to do one scene.
Yeah.
You know, or to like fill out an ensemble and not be an elephant in the room that there's like 4 white people in the show.
Yeah.
So then it's like, yeah, it's like, why put all your eggs in that one audition that like you actually, there's just so many other factors that you can consider.
It was very difficult for me because when I sang opera, I had all the high notes. So it didn't matter what I looked like. But now that music theater comes about and the auditions for music theater at CP, I've come to the fact that I am not a romantic lead look. And so I go for the character roles. But it took a long time for me to come to grips with that. Because I had the lead roles, but it was because of my high notes, not what I looked like. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a common like high school thing. You know, like I remember junior year in high school, I wanted to play Curly in Oklahoma so badly, or even Will Parker.
There's a Curly right
Yeah,
there.
Curly.
But like it was because I was the only guy who had like a high note or whatever. My drama teacher did not like me. I never played like a lead in high school, and I was always like, he was just, I don't know why he didn't let me have a lead.
They always
ever.
pick something. Not us, that we never.
No. But it was like, you know, I remember being like, oh, I want to be Curly because it's the lead and he has a G and I have a G. But like, I'm not right for Curly. I should have been Will Parker, but that was his own beef. But it's still like, yeah, I'm not going to be a romantic lead, and that's great. Now, but it takes time to come to that here.
Yeah, it does.